Hello, I hope everybody's doing well. There's a lot going on out there right now, isn't there? Something I've noticed is that when the ideas begin to flow and all the creativity starts going off like sparks, something comes along and it at least delays you. Been listening to, well, not really new music, some of it's new. But one of the things that I've noticed I'm doing is, I don't know, I guess like energy scanning. Like when I'm listening to my regular radio station, I can feel all of the energies to a point that are plugged in to, the DJ that's on doing things live. I start kind of getting a feel sometimes like I'm checking the weather. And I've also noticed too that sometimes I don't have anything to do with the radio or anything else. I play a lot of meditation music or meditative music. But I've had some things come to light and had some discussions with some other people that are experiencing and encountering people that are experiencing certain things. And after having a few conversations, kind of been led to share some of it. One of the biggest things that's been coming up, and I think I mentioned this before, is integrity issues. I've had some attempts at deception with me, and some have succeeded, even here of late. Some point, it was like my discernment kicked in. And it kicked in hard when it did. It's like I could see a soft light that was illuminating all the hidden manipulation in the shadows. Then the solution and the transmutation of it kind of happened all at once, instinctually. I also have had people telling me of temptations placed in their path. Either being dishonest, telling a lie, or taking something that isn't theirs, or obtaining something with not pure intentions. And that's hard for them, some of them, because some of them are in, dire straits physically, materially. And here they are, they've been honest and to the point of it being a detriment to themselves. And they're watching everybody else get ahead. So on top of feeling like they've been kind of kicked to the side and forgotten, they also feel betrayed because, you said if I just stuck to it, everything would be okay. And the truth is that they've got things to work on within themselves. When they realize what they almost did, then they have to deal with guilt and everything. And these are things that they have to deal with. It's like, it's a damned if you do and damned if you don't situation. And even though they've declared their sovereignty, they still feel that they're enslaved. But the truth is that they are enslaving themselves. If they've declared themselves sovereign and they're being true to it, then anything that's binding them or holding them down is something self-created. Another friend of mine, stories about the jinn have been coming up lately. And they want to know, well, we said that these contracts were ended, but, here we are, we still feel enslaved. What's going on? And the same thing, people coming up with experiences or visions of the Norse gods. And, it's like Loki says, I just pointed out and told you that you were trying to hold the humans to a higher standard than you were practicing yourselves, Here you are creating all this stuff in their lives, and I just tried to point it out. And so, because of fear and jealousy, You know, me and my offspring, we were basically kind of tortured, and we were bound and chained, and just because you were afraid, and here you are trying to hold this other, you know, standard up for someone else to meet, which you're not even meeting yourself. And so then, you know, there's that feeling there also of betrayal. So we're seeing these energies of betrayal and deception and enslavement coming through, even in people and beings that have declared their sovereignty. So what's really going on here is kind of what we're thinking. Well, with the jinn, it was like they just kind of realized, it came to you, in order to enslave or ensnare a jinn, you've got to be pretty crafty, because that jinn is pretty crafty and cunning, way more than humans usually. And, you know, they're walking around saying, no, you know, our contract is over. But what they're not doing is, just because they're being beckoned, okay, they're still running, because it is a habit. It is a program in which they've allowed themselves to stay in, even though there's no contract per se. It's like going from a lease to a month-to-month rent type deal, and it's not even a rent. So what happens is, you know, the jinn looks at the so-called master and says, you know, no, our contract is over. I am sovereign, and I'm no longer beholden. And then he watches the realization on the face and all through the field of his handler. And he realizes that that's the answer. He feels the freedom, but it's not from another, it's from his own enslavement. And, you know, it's like we said, that the Norse gods, there's been a lot of people getting some Loki energy and Fenrir and things like that. Now, and another thing to learn is, something else has been coming up, is this choosing sides, good and evil. I understand we are here with a mission. We are here to accomplish something. And we are here to bring that level of consciousness to the collective that we've never ever experienced. There's a lot of old God constructs coming out and all that. And then there's the political stuff going on. And what I've noticed is that there's a whole lot of this, you know, I'm right, pick my side. And how can you not believe this? I had an experience where all I did was say that, you know, I don't have an opinion on this subject. And I'm not going to bring it up because it'd just be another reason. This person kept saying, no, you have to tell me your opinion. And I told him, no, I don't, because I don't have one and you just want to argue. If you like to discuss ideas in love, basically, that's fine. But I'm sensing fear and anxiety, and I'm not putting my energies into that. It doesn't matter, because this is just, it's an argument. And we're being manipulated by the media and by these constructs. And while we're sitting there with each other saying, no, pick my side, and we're getting all riled up, instead of putting that energy into doing the inner work and ending our own enslavement that we built ourselves, we're feeding that energy into a false construct. You have the false light out there. That's what this battle of good and evil, part of it is this false light thing. When they can't get you to jump over there and just try to keep this whole construct going, because it's all it is it's an energy. It's a great big energy pool. It's a great big energy regeneration. But when they can't get you to do that, then they start, you know, telling you, oh, you know, this is good and this is evil and you have to choose this side and we have to banish this one. The truth is that what you have to do, you have to work on yourself. You have to do the inner work. You can't expect things to just happen. A lot of it is not pleasant, especially at first. A lot of it is not easy when you have to look at things about yourself and sometimes admit certain things about and to yourself. But it's so worth it. And you get to a point where when you come up with a new issue to work on, you look at it as an adventure and a chance to improve. An opportunity is really what it's becoming to you. So when you kind of sit and get still, meditation, some people say they don't like to meditate. Well, just don't call it meditation, but know that a lot of times that is what you are achieving. So give yourself a break, give yourself a little credit, and admit for a change that you did something right. Sometimes that's the hardest things for some of us to do. But when you get still, think about this. If you've got these entities out there saying, oh, come fight on my side, I'm for the good. And think about this. You're fighting. Is the pure divine source energy going to ask you to fight? I don't think so. Not at this point, when we're trying to help people to basically evolve within themselves. But no, you need to vet your guides, your channelings. You need to do it every time. If you ask them if they serve the false light, or what some people call the dark matrix, the intent will be there. If it is a being of divine light and that is in this for the right reason and is not stuck in that construct and serving that energy regeneration, then they will immediately respond. And it might not be out loud. It might not be that something falls over, because there's something, I think a term that I heard it was called soul telepathy. And I'm so glad that I read this. I'll have to look up the article and maybe we'll have a talk about that one day, because there's a lot of really good information. But I'm so glad I heard it, because I didn't know what this was. It's like you have communication, you don't know how it happened. And now I finally was able to put a word to it. That's exactly what it is. I joke with people all the time and I say I prefer telepathy to technology. But that's really the truth, because you want to talk about a fast computer. Oh, my computer's this fast. When you got that soul telepathy, there is no fast. It just is. And that's a really cool thing, because think about all the misunderstandings that's going to take away. But we have to reach a certain vibration and a certain frequency and a certain consciousness before we're capable. So we need to bring as many along as we can that are ready to come. And if they're not ready to come, we need to love them anyway. We're not leaving any behind, but we're letting them follow their path. Maybe there's a sequential order of things that they need to do and the way they need to do it. Lessons they still have left to learn and to master. I feel if they were perfect, they wouldn't be here. That's how I feel about myself. So let's keep that in mind. And if you're arguing, okay, you're letting someone else's energy kind of intertwine with yours. And some will be out there, and some are out there just to get your energy confused. So when you sit down, start exploring your own energetic signature. Start to notice the texture. Start to notice the color. And it might not be a color that's clear to you. It might just be the feeling of a color, and that's okay too. Start to notice how it vibrates. Start to notice how it feels. If you slow it down or if you speed it up. If you do that, you will be able to be more aware of anything trying to attach to you, or to manipulate you, or to discourage you, or to delay you. A lot of us do it and don't even think about it. It's like before you walk out the door, you check, do I have my keys? Do I have, this? Do I have that? Do I have my coat? Do I have my hat? And it's kind of like that. Some of us, we automatically do that with our energy, and it's like we'll be like, something's off. And you start to narrow it down to figure out what's off, and then you know what to do. It's part of managing your own energy. I am in no means a teacher of that yet. I'm still learning so much. Things come to me basically instinctually, and I have to figure out or discover what they are later. But see, that's the way it had to be for me. If I'd have been able to get all this information, then I'd have just been like, oh, well, I got to do this. There's kind of an adventure to finding out, to figuring out. And then it means so much more to you. It's a lesson so much easier for someone like me to hold on to, because you've had to not just put book learning or something like that to it. For me, to kind of go through it and then get, which is why I've had such hard lessons. That seems to be the way I have to learn. But I did have those realizations. And if there are things that are holding you down, realize what is yours and what isn't. And start to saw away, start to chop those chains, start to break those chains. Because here we are right at this level to jump into a whole nother reality. Quirky Cosmos had a video she put out recently called Jump, and the passion that she put through there, the compassion. If you can, go watch it. It's so worth watching, because you see she's authentic. And she represents how so many of us feel. And she says, just jump. But you got to cut those chains that you put there yourself. You have to release them. You have the key. Some of them aren't even locked. Just shake your hands out of them. Shake them off. And jump. If you're right there, jump. You're ready. If there's something you need to learn it quick. You won't have to learn everything, because there's still parts of our journey that we're going to go through. But have confidence in yourself and have realization in yourself. Know what is of you and what is not. Know what is of the light and what is not. Know that you got this. Know that it's all going to be okay. And it's going to be an adventure. And meditating, I can't push that hard enough. Meditating changes so much about you. And at first, it is kind of hard to do. But you got to keep at it. I know you've heard that probably 1,000 times if you're a person that has a hard time meditating. But keep at it, okay? You will find your breakthrough point. It will happen. If you keep coming with pure intention, it's going to happen. And don't be in denial, because it might come in a way that you don't expect. So don't be in denial. Don't limit yourself. You are limitless. Embrace it. Accept it. Join us all. Let's enjoy this, people. I mean, come on. We are participating and witnessing something so amazing. And we are all worth the reward of seeing the result of what we put so much of our heart and our energy into. So here's your tips, okay? Vet your guides, vet your channelings. I'm getting a feeling, and from talking to other people that are getting it too, that the energy of deception has been turned up. We sensed it and had some not only deception, but then there was disclosure back with the group that I was in Florida with. And we saw that even then. We were all together and we saw it and pointed it out and found it interesting. And now I'm having other people talk to me about their integrity being compromised, about them almost breaking their own integrity, about somebody taking advantage of them and not displaying any integrity. There's been, wow, just people wanting to argue and say, I'm right and you're wrong. Always vet and just remember, when somebody wants to argue with them, just fill the air with love. And if they keep wanting to argue, they really don't want your opinion. They are caught deep in that manipulation to get you to do the side choosing. The only side you have to choose is your own. Because if you start doing that inner work, then you're going to react different to somebody. You're going to pass on some information. You're going to put something out there that changes so much for people. It's got to change, because everybody wants to run around and say, oh, well, you can't change the world. You know how many times I've heard that? And I still am, no, I can change the world. Because if I have one thought that causes a different action than would have been had I not taken the time to have that thought, then this world would have been a different place because of that one thought. So yes, we can change the world one thought at a time, one action at a time. But we've got to take care of ourselves. We've got to guard our energy. We've got to start to understand it a little better. Because if you're going to exist on this new level, in this new reality, in this new realm, dimension, it doesn't matter if you call it a different word. As long as we all kind of understand what the other's talking about, that's just fine. We don't have to, because I'm telling you, when it gets to the point where you've got it, you don't need words. You just know. And that's amazing. And anything that comes from the divine light of Source is pure and honest and authentic. And those are the key words right now. Discernment, authenticity, integrity, and of course, love, compassion, and gratitude. All right, I'm going to stop bending your ear. But something told me, if you're having issues with this, and you need to reach out. Reach out, because that's how we kind of end up networking in very strange ways that just seem to be divine design. So reach out. We're here to help each other. That's part of what we are trying to set an example of doing, what we are talking about doing. If you just feel lost sometimes it helps to reach out. And you'd be surprised how many people there are out there that went through maybe not the exact same situation, but something similar. So try and hang on. Take care of yourself. Ground every day. Meditate every day, even if it's 5 minutes. Every now and then, scan your energy. Check your chakras. Do they feel like they're aligned? You'll start to get familiar with what it feels like for things to be functioning properly. Even though there are things changing, and I'm under the understanding that we're going to experience some things a little bit different. There are fine-tunings going on right now, downloads, all kinds of stuff. And your experience might not be the same as somebody that you talk to, somebody that you're next to, somebody that you just know of. We cannot all classify ourselves in the same thing. Yes, we are one. But at the same time, each one of us has a unique task and a unique experience to fulfill. It produces certain ions in the air is the best way for me to say it. But have confidence in yourself. Start to develop your intuition, your discernment. And just have fun. Have fun. Every breath in is love. Every breath out is gratitude. And know that we all love you and that we're all in this together. Some of us just don't know it yet. So remember to show compassion. And may the peace and the joy follow every step that you take along the paths of your journey.